cold and gusty, and the clouds rolled gray and dense. As he pounded the last nail in and gathered tools to go, the temperature had fallen and snow began to blow. When he finally reached his pickup truck, he felt a heavy heart. From the sound of that ignition, he knew it wouldn't start. So Jake did what most of us would do if we'd have been there. He humbly bowed his balding head and sent the loft a prayer. As he turned the key for the last time, he softly cursed his luck. They found him 3 days later, frozen stiff in that old truck. Well, Jake had been around in his life and done his share of roaming, but when he saw heaven, well, it looked just like Wyoming. I always thought, of all the saints in heaven, his favorite was St. Peter. But this line, it ain't needed, but it helps with my rhyme and meter. Of all the saints in heaven, his favorite was St. Peter. And as Jake said to Pete, I always thought that God will answer prayers. Well, the one time I plain needed him, he just wasn't there. Well, does God answer prayers of some and ignore the prayers of others? That don't seem square. I thought all men are brothers. Does he randomly reply without rhyme or reason? Maybe it's the time of day, the weather, or the season. Now, I'm not trying to act smart. It's just the way I feel. And I was wondering if you could tell me, what in the world's the deal? Well, Pete listened patiently, and when Jake was done, there were smiles of recognition, and he said, oh, so you're the one. That day, your truck, it wouldn't start, and you sent your prayer flying. You gave us all a real hard time, with hundreds of us trying. 1,000 angels rushed to check the status of your file. But you know, Jake, we hadn't heard from you in quite a while. And though all prayers are answered and God ain't got no quota, he did not recognize your voice and started the truck over in Swannanoa. Oh, man. Well, one thing we're going to do today is we're going to have fun. And, you know, I've been reading in the book of John, and one of the things that Jesus does, or that John recounts is, in that book, is that Jesus, men had never heard the message that Jesus brought like ever before. As Jesus brought his message, people would say, well, you know, this is very different from what we're used to. This is a message that is very unique, and it sounds weird. Love my neighbor and turn the other cheek and all that kind of stuff. People hadn't heard that kind of message when Jesus was out in his ministry all those years. So today will sort of be the same kind of thing. You may not have ever heard a message quite like this before. First of all, let me tell you a little bit about who we are. My name is Gene. My wife Suzanne is over there, and my daughter Devin right there, and my son Clay, who is over there. He disappeared somewhere. Oh, okay. But we are a ministry family. We've been in ministry for close to, let's see, we started full-time ministry in 1999. And we come from, originally grew up down here in Swannanoa. My mom is and has been the organist of Swannanoa First Baptist Church for over 43 years. So I have a lot of Baptist guilt instilled in me. But we moved to Orlando, Florida, and we lived there for 15 years. And I started doing production ministry, basically kind of behind-the-scenes ministry for churches. We would set up sound systems and lighting and staging, and we've done concerts for family reunions. We've done everything to concerts at TD Waterhouse for the last 3 years. I don't have the ring to prove it, but I've been the NFC press coordinator for the Super Bowl for the last 3 years. And so if you saw, like when you saw the Seattle Seahawks or when you saw the Chicago Bears on television, I was the guy that that microphone and that cable, and it fed every network in the world. That was my responsibility. One microphone and a cable, and it had to feed the whole world. No pressure. That's what I did for the Super Bowl, and I didn't get to work it last year, but it's a contract that comes up to me every now and then. So my background is in audio and production. I was a music major over at Morris Hill College, and So when I come back to North Carolina, I come back up to Asheville, people go, well, since when were you a cowboy? I was like, well, I moved to Florida, and something happened, something strange happened. So my wife is from British Guiana, and her family is Indian by nationality, and so when we have an argument at the house, can you imagine? I get to circle the wagons. It's cowboys and it's home. And can you imagine some of the? Oh my goodness! Since we've been up here in North Carolina, now, Orlando's a very diverse place, but can you imagine some of the churches that we've walked into up here in the mountains? They see me. They don't realize I'm an old redneck from the mountains up here, but I am. And then they see me and Suzanne walk in, boy, and they're like, where'd y'all come from? So, but we have a good time together. We go out and do, basically what our ministry is, we go out and do Cowboy Church at horse shows, rodeos, wherever people will allow us to go take church to them. And in reality, I guess that sort of makes me a circuit riding preacher. And I love doing it. I've got a Ford F-350, and I love to get in my Ford and tell folks, we're bringing church to them, and that's what we do. We have a full-time Cowboy Church over here in Weaverville, North Carolina. We moved up here to start that last year. We moved up here in September, almost a year ago, and we launched that church in, I guess, January of this year, of '08, and it's been kind of an interesting little ride because we moved up here and all of a sudden we sold our house just at the downhill slide of the real estate market going down in Orlando. Wow. We sold our house down there and moved up here, and we started to build a house up in Asheville. Then we realized we didn't have enough money. It was like builders up here in Asheville. I don't know what the world is, but oh my goodness, it's like we're trying to build with gold stone or something up here. It's crazy. So we've been blessed though. We kind of laugh about it right now. We're still trying to build a house. We've been up here for a year, and we just broke ground on it. But now all of a sudden trying to get a mortgage with a mortgage company. You tell people you're a church planter. Well, I'm a church planter, and they go, click. Hello, is anybody there? Please, is this thing on? But we're trying to build a house, so. In the midst of that, trying to build a house, we're building a church, and last weekend we were doing Cowboy Church at the Ranch Horse Association show over at the Ag Center. We've done Cowboy Church for 2 major rodeos here in Asheville, and we've got Cowboy Church scheduled just all over the place. And that's one of the reasons we called up here, because we like to come out, and it kind of gets me out of the house, but we like to come out to other churches and talk to them about what we're doing on Sunday, because most of the time I'm doing church during the week. Our Cowboy Church meets on a Thursday night, and then we go to do Cowboy Church on a Sunday. It's usually somewhere other than a church building. We just call it church in the dirt. And there's no better place I'd rather be. I think God has called everybody to unique purposes. You've heard purpose-driven life. Well, God gives us, if we call to Him and ask Him to make us into the kind of people that He wants us to be, then you better hang on, because that's going to be your ride. Like, everybody watch rodeo? Well, an 8-second ride will never compare to what God is going to do with your life if you just allow Him to work in that direction. If you allow Him to make you into the kind of person He wants you to be.